in the office right now, whether we're going home early. So be prepared. There might be an early dismissal. I'm not sure. I don't know. All right. Right to roll call, and I'll post this attendance form.
No, Dom, ours actually froze and was spinning, and when it wasn't going on. So my apologies for being, 30 seconds late.
It's like you to class every day. Come on.
Right. How many times have I left you all in the hallway? It's only fair.
So Dom is here, and Eli is here. Darius.
Ray,
home base.
Elijah, Zuli, Joe Biden, Preston, Emily, Aiden, Finley, Hannah, Alexis, Abigail, Radika, Abby, another Abby, another Hannah.
Another home base.
Hey, Donald Trump Big Boy was first today.
Gladys, Cameron, Jake Bamford in the house.
Alex, Cohen, Sam, Maya, Connor, Annie, Haley,
Jeffy,
Emma, Diana, Alexi, Carissa, Jocelyn.
Is that like DJ Jazzy Jeff? Or never mind.
What? Is it Friday yet?
Carissa. All right. Diana, hola. So yesterday we talked about biotechnology. We're going to do a brief review. It's going to be a very brief review. Then we're going to share the assignment that we have for you because we want to give you time to work on the assignment. One of the things, and I think the best policy with this whole thing that we've been doing here is honesty, right? Like you understanding why we're doing what we're doing. And so one of the things we really have been talking about between the two of us is how do we cover stuff here, like that direct instruction piece for you, and give you something to do, but not take up, keep it within a time limit, because we know some of you will get it done in 5 minutes and some of you will take 20, and that's okay. So if you're feeling like, wow, there wasn't very much, maybe you're just really getting it, and that's great. If you're having problems, you should be emailing us, you should be texting us, you should be doing whatever it is you have to do to get online with us so we can help you. So if you're having problems, it is not an excuse to have a 0 in the grade book and be like, well, I didn't understand it. Because I'm here. Mrs. Smith is right there. She's right there. There she is. Reach out to us and we'll help you. Before we jump into that, there is one thing I wanted to share with you. And I think Mrs. Smith, it's the same for her. So let me just click on this. Add the live stream. There we go. In Moodle, we did put at the beginning of this week, week 5, assignments for the week. So if you click on that document, it opens up in a document. And we're just trying to make it really simple. What did we do? When were things due? Here's a link to the live stream. So all of this is really in Moodle, but we're just, once again, trying to make it really simple and easy for you to follow and understand. All right. I
didn't link the biotech web quest. I'll do that. I tried to add the links in there, but I didn't want to do it till it was assigned. So
all right, we'll put that in there for you. So yesterday, you want to do this one?
Sure. So yesterday we talked a little bit about biotechnology and specifically talking about evidence and, using biotechnology to help with things. And so if we think about this process that's labeled here, you have blood and then you're going to get some DNA from it. And then you're going to be able to run this process. So what I'm looking for here is did anybody remember what we have to do with the DNA before we can actually go in and run the process? And what is that called?
Yeah, so this diagram is missing. How many steps is it missing between 1 and 2?
Well,
there should be 2 things, right, that they can come up with.
I was looking at 1 in 1 and then 1 in 2. So step number 1 is going from a little tiny drop to enough DNA. So what is that process? What's happening there to go from?
We'll be impressed if they get this.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't heard this in a while.
Oh, what are you doing to fill up your water bottle to You know what I mean? You don't have your trusty sink there. All right. So Eli said add an enzyme. I was actually talking about that at step 2. Once we have more DNA, then I would add in the restriction enzymes for step 2.
Look at Sam.
Sam's on to the right case there, talking about duplication or replication. That's great. But does anybody remember what it's actually called? It's a process that has 3 letters and a long name. I'd take the 3 letters.
Right, Sam. That's good that you got duplication. That's good. I mean, that means you understand what's going on. Now, what's the name? I'm impressed by that. Oh, Eli said add an enzyme to replicate it.
Yeah, and I said that's really what I was looking for in step 2 with the restriction enzymes.
No, really?
Yeah, because you got to duplicate it before you can cut it up.
He said add an enzyme to replicate it.
Oh, to replicate. Oh, okay. I missed that one. I'm sorry. I was looking at his comment 2 above that said add an
I got to be careful because she's always right. And so when I question her, I get nervous that she's going to make me look foolish.
Okay, so we are adding an enzyme to replicate it. That process is a 3-letter acronym that stands for polymerase chain reaction. So we're talking about PCR. So essentially, we are forcing using enzymes in order to produce more DNA. Cool part about it that I didn't talk about yesterday is that it's actually bacteria polymerase that we're using. We're using it from a bacteria from a hot springs, actually, because it can withstand the heat that we need to unwind the DNA because we're not using helicase. So we've got PCR at step 1 that's going to then replicate that DNA or duplicate that DNA, take one piece and make a lot. And then restriction enzymes at step 2, they're going to cut up that DNA. And then we're going to put in these cool little wells and we're going to put some electricity in there. And that is called...
I like when we ask questions. And that is called... 30 seconds later.
You're on that screen, just so you know. So now I see myself on there. That's cool. Thanks. You know, where are you going? Where are you going here? You're skipping around.
Too many tabs. Too many tabs. I wanted to see if they got into the chat faster.
Oh, I almost called it another teacher and said, like, what are you, Tabby like? But I'm not going to say it. You know what I'm talking about.
Bonus points for the day. If you can name a teacher that has too many tabs that have been on their computer.
They're probably going to get that easier than gel.
No, nobody's told us. Electrostatic reaction. Okay, and that's why we're doing this, guys, because we know these are hard. So this is the thing that I talked about yesterday. Go ahead. Are you giving it up?
I said gel. I was hoping that would have maybe put some lead in.
Dominic said, They're guessing at teachers now.
Electrostatic. Okay, no. Close. Gel electrophoresis. And Cameron knows. Gel and gel electrophoresis. Okay, so essentially what this is it's like swimming in Jello. So the gel, if you think about that, it's like it's then being electrified with the liquid that's around it, and you're trying to push your way through Jello. And because there's pores in Jello, then you're able to kind of get through it faster if you're smaller, or if you're larger, you get kind of stuck in that Jello. I've got one last question. This is really a very high level question. This is one, like I talked to Mr. Studer and I was like, I wish I had my honors students to like sit around and have this conversation with. So I'm really directing this towards all those honor students sitting here, but anybody could get this. So when we are electrifying this gel, if you notice, you're putting it near the top, like if you're looking underneath of number 3, that's where we're putting it and saying the arrows are pulling it down. Notice it's negatively charged at the top where you put the DNA, and it's positively charged down at the bottom. So if DNA is moving towards that bottom, towards the cathode, the positive side, what charge is DNA? This is like bonus point level question.
She can't resist. Guys.
I can't resist. I miss all of you. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, getting lots of negatives in the charge. It looks like Eli was in with negative first.
Why am I not seeing that? Oh, are
I'm
you
looking at the live?
Okay, good.
version
Okay,
of it.
so good. So DNA is actually negatively charged. It has to do with that high 5 phosphate that we talked about because phosphate is negatively charged.
Okay.
Chemistry.
So we have polymerase chain reaction. We made more DNA because we don't want to waste it. We want to have it in case we mess up. We cut it up. We put it in the gel. We've run the gel. Now we're looking at a gel. This is a gel from a crime. So a crime has been committed. There's a victim, and there's 3 suspects. Can anybody tell us who did it? Yes, take a close look. I might be able to make it even a little bit bigger for you. So I'm seeing in the live chat lots of suspects too. So if I look at the victim's DNA, remember all this is taking the DNA and organizing it by size. Everybody's DNA cuts up differently, right? If I look at the crime scene, the criminal, and I look at suspect 2, we notice all the DNA in both of those have cut up the same. So yeah, suspect 2. All right. We have one last question today before we give you your assignment and let you go. Where is that? What do you want to ask with us, Mrs. Smith?
Sure. So one of the things is this is kind of a nice lead into some of the things we're going to talk about in our next unit, that when we are creating a new offspring, we're getting some DNA from mom and some DNA from dad. And so you're getting all new DNA. So what that does is it actually allows us to use gel electrophoresis for paternity. So you'll see you have this infant in the center. Okay, that's what theirs looks like when it's cut up with restriction enzymes. Here's mom. It's trying to figure out which dad is it. And people are already in there. Eli's like on that, like he's got it. And so if you look, what's kind of tough about this one is that male 1 does line up with the infant. So people might think, hey, that's the father. But what you have to do is look for the lines in the infant that mom doesn't have. So that line that's directly under line 2 lines up with dad 2. And the line underneath of that lines up with dad 2. So those 2 lines match with dad 2 on the other side. And so that's going to indicate that the best case scenario, it's like the Maury show. You are the father, you know. Sorry, maybe that's an old show that you know what I'm talking about. But
right. You probably recognize Springer, though. All right. So last but not least, in Moodle, you will find a link to the Biotech web quest. And that is this document right here. I want to point out a couple things to you to make your life easier. All right. The first, and this has been, and just so you know, guys.
My phone actually dumb. Sorry.
This has been reduced from what it was when we did it in school, right? So we cut a lot of stuff out of this to make it doable for you today. The first 5 or 6 questions here, these first questions, go with exactly with what we talked about yesterday and what Mrs. Smith talked about and what I talked about. So you could answer these by going back to yesterday's screencast if you want, if you don't remember, or today's. You could also watch the Mr. Anderson video. So he has a video, you know, Bozeman Bio. There's a video on this. So if you want to look at that, you can. However you get the answers, you can get the answers for it. You come down here. There are 2 things. You can double click on this one to mark it, like it tells you to mark it with the largest and the smallest. Can I remind you of the motorcycle and the pickup truck and the tractor trailer? Which one of these lines is the smallest line on the whole thing? Which one's the biggest line on the whole thing? And then you come down here, there's a couple more questions. So this is a little bit longer than normal, but it's not due tomorrow, but we want you to start working on it today. But you'll notice we even put some links to places that will be able to help you answer these questions. So it's not that bad. I don't really think it will take you much longer than maybe about 20 minutes. What I would say to you today, maybe get the first page done today. You agree with that, Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
First page done today. Maybe the second page. Go ahead.
Hold on, sorry.
So that's what I would say. And then it's not my phone. And then we will maybe talk about some of that tomorrow in the live stream. But this will probably do next week. I mean, we're thinking maybe Monday or Tuesday next week. All right. But that doesn't mean put it away, don't do it. Definitely try to get some of it done today. At least the first page. And I would say first and second, because the second page is kind of the fun page because you get to figure out who did it, kind of thing. All right. Anything else, Mrs. Smith?
Yeah, why do they think it's your phone? I'm just pointing that out. It was totally mine several times. Sorry.
No idea. All right. So that's where we're at. So we will see you tomorrow at 10:30. Have a lovely day. Thank you for coming. We miss you. Wash your hands.
Yeah.
All that good stuff. Love you. See you tomorrow.